Hello class, I'm here with this video to show you guys how to import artwork that you make in Adobe Illustrator into the book. And I'm going to use an example of a background. Now this would be a background for exercise 1, where in exercise 1 you are making, I would have my cover here. This would be blank page in my table of contents. And then exercise 1 would start here, where you have 24 examples of comparing and contrasting. So I'm going to put a background in here from Illustrator, and then I could add all my type pieces, which I'm going to take these, just move them over here, because those are just some letters. This is stuff in InDesign that I'm going to put on top of the stuff in Illustrator. So first things first, this is 5 by 5 with a 0.125 eighth of an inch bleed. So when I go over to Illustrator, and I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to make this, I'm going to include the bleed in this document. So when I bring it over, it'll already have the bleed in it and everything. So I'm going to start with 5.25 by 5.25, because that gives me the eighth of an inch on both sides for the width, eighth of an inch on both sides for the height. So that would be a good starting point. And then I just need one more board to start. This doesn't matter. Everything else is good. I'm in CMYK, which is important because I'm in CMYK over here too. And then I'm just going to hit create. And then I've got my first artboard. Control or Command R. Show my rulers. And what I want to do here, this is great for the one-pagers if I was making artwork. Like this is good for exercise 2. If you wanted to create exercise 2 inside of Illustrator. That would be easier for me. That might be easier for you as well. But I also want to create some spreads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a second artboard over here. And do that with the artboard tool here. And then if I just drag, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to go in and change it up here to exactly what I need. So this is, again, the height is going to be 5.25. Oh, I was close. 5.25. And the width here I want to be 10.25. Again, there's no bleed in the middle, so it's really just the 1/8 of an inch on this side and 1/8 inch on this side. Tab, and I got my artboard. So with the artboard tool, see how it changes? I can move this around. And then if I accidentally click here or something like that, or accidentally create one, I could just press delete and get rid of that. Or I could go to my artboard panel, and if I created one by accident, I know artboard 4 shouldn't be there, so just drag it to the trash. Zoom out a little bit. So now I got an artboard for the spreads and an artboard for one pages. So 2-page, 1-page. And what I want to do here is these are really close together. So again, I'm going to grab that artboard tool and I'm just going to move this over. Zoom out a little bit more. And maybe I'll put it right here. Okay. So then I got my 2 artboards, and then what I can do is I could drop a guide right in the middle here. So to make it easier on myself, instead of trying to figure out where this is according to the rulers, I'm going to grab this. Oh, it looks like it's already there, but I could, good, if I click right in here and then drag, now I'm deciding where my 0 point is. So I can make it right in the middle. And I want to make it right in the corner, which it already is. It says intersect, so that's good. And then, again, I'm just going to drag a guide. I'm not going to try to, just somewhere over here. That's fine. Because I'm going to go up into my options here and my options bar. I'm going to make it exactly right in the middle. So with my move tool, I'm just going to select the guide, which I can't do. Why can't I do it? Because they're locked. Go to guides and unlock those guides. Now I can select the guide. Again, different than Photoshop. So now I have my guide selected. And you can see in my options bar here, there's the height and the width. So if this is the 0 point, I want my X to be 5.125. Because again, there's just a bleed on this side, and then the middle, and then the other bleed. So 5.125 is where I want this. 0.125 is an eighth of an inch. So there, that's right in the middle. Now I could drop in the quadrant guides, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just making my background, but I would follow the same procedure. So I could just go over here, drop it in here, go up here and change the exact point. But I'm not going to do that. We'll make this video shorter. So you just do that, and then you would also drop your horizontal guide right in the middle. Okay, so there's my setup, and now I can start creating artwork. Before I do anything else, I would save this. So you can see I started one already here. So this one already has some artwork in it. So I would go, first things first, I'm going to save this. So you just hit save. I'm saving as, but I have a folder. And this is important too. Make sure I have a folder that you house everything for this project. It's just going to make it easier. And I'm saving this as backgrounds, because I could do all of the backgrounds for this book in this one Illustrator document. So hit save. And then you can see I've already made one page here. So I would have this. I just threw some shapes together just for the demo here. So this could be my background. And then I could, what would be cool too if I went in and really wanted to unlock this here, and I like change the opacity on a couple of these, add some lines across, like white lines across it. Look really interesting, but just for the demo here, I threw some shapes together. So let's say that this is exactly what I want my background to be for exercise, for my first page in exercise 1. So first things first, I want to label this layer exercise 1, page 4 and 5. So if I go back to my InDesign, so I've got my, again, my cover, blank page, table of contents, and then I would have a title page for exercise 1, and then this would be my first page. So actually I should change that to 6 and 7, because what I made wouldn't really work well for a title. And when I make the title page for exercise 1, that should be kind of a common theme for exercise. The title pages should look similar. So like if I'm using, with my design, lots of circle and rounded rectangle shapes, I would want to keep that theme kind of going. Possibly even keep the color theme going. So like I have complementary colors, blue and orange. So I could use blue and orange throughout in different variations of it, or I could go with complementary colors for each exercise, which would be pretty neat. So I definitely need to change this because this page is wrong. I want to change this to page 6 and 7. And it doesn't seem like it now, but, and this is an item when I was in college, like sometimes I wouldn't even change my layer names, and then it would just become a headache, because eventually this would, if I make all my backgrounds in this document, I make my cover, my table of contents all in here, or whatever I'm making only in Illustrator, this could get to be a pretty extensive list. So labeling them just takes a second. It's taking me way longer to explain it than it would to actually just go in, double click, layer 2, like this would be maybe my cover. So all my cover art would be on here. So since I'm not using my cover, I want to make sure that my layer is locked and it's not visible. So back to this. So now I have my background completed in Illustrator. This is what I want to use. So what I want to do is I want to save just this. So before I do anything else, I would definitely save my document. So I'd hit Control S or Command S, File Save. And then you go to File, Save As. And this time, what's important here, if I want to bring something from Illustrator into InDesign, I want to save it as an EPS file. So go down here to Illustrator EPS, and here I'm going to click Use Artboards. And then I'm going to change the range. So I know that I'm using Artboard 2 right here, so I would say range 2 to 2. So really this is going to save just my Artboard 2, which is the background I'm creating, into my book, my folder. So I'm in my folder for the Typebook project. And you can see it's already there, so I would click Save. And it's going to ask me place the file. Or from here, this is fine. I'm leaving everything here. I mean, I would keep it transparent. TIFF 8-bit color is fine. And all this other stuff is good. And these are kind of made to go together too. Yes, I'll replace that. And then when I'm done and I would move on to the next page, I could lock this up, hide it, and then create a new layer. And possibly I wouldn't want to hide it because maybe I want to take some of the parts from this. And you could, if you wanted to, create separate Illustrator documents for each one of the backgrounds. For me, just less files is better, so I would have everything in here, but that could start to get confusing. So I could just save this whole document as backgrounds for page exercise 1, page 6 and 7. Or you could have like exercise 1, where you have only the pages for exercise 1, maybe an Illustrator document for just the exercise title pages, and so forth. So it depends on how you want to set it up. Or you could do this entirely in InDesign, but I find it useful to use Illustrator when I'm building artwork like this, because that's what the program was made for. And over the past 30 years, Adobe has been refining Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign, and they work really well together. Okay, so back to InDesign. So now I have my EPS file, and I want to put it here at 6 and 7. So what I would do here is then I would go to make a box. And this has bleeds in it, so I'm going to go all the way to the bleed line. And then with that selected, got my selection tool here, and then I'm going to go to File, Place. And then there's my backgrounds too. Just click on that, click Open, and then there it is. And you can see on my layers, I could have all of my backgrounds on one layer, and then all of my other stuff that's done in InDesign on a separate layer. So once I put that in, I could lock this up, but first this is on the wrong layer. So I'm just going to cut that, lock that, paste that. So now I won't have an issue where I'm moving this stuff around, and then so I can't accidentally move the background. So that's set in stone. And then I could put, here's Helvetica G. Oh, that's got the white background. And then this is just a G in a text box, and then I just made a circle shape. And I would fit that in nicely, and then I could put white text across here explaining something about this G and comparing it maybe to something here. And then this is great with the orange and the blue, two colors. Now I could have like one of my Helvetica and blue, and then some other font that I'm comparing it to in orange. Or I could just use white. So the white just looks nice on here. And then they're kind of comparing. So I could have these two comparing, and then text about the comparison. And then that would be it. So then when I'm done with exercise 1, because I want to post it in the in the discussion board, I would select, go to my pages, and let's say exercise 1, well, let's start, I put that in the wrong page. So it'd start at 4 and 5, and then go down to here, say this was all of exercise 1, holding shift to select all those. And then I can export those pages. Oops. Page 4 to 13. Oops, I'm sorry. I didn't need to select those, I guess. Pages here, range 4 to 13. Export, and then I have this exported that I can post in the discussion board. So that's it for moving things from Illustrator to InDesign.